Welcome back to the most politics in the morning. Barack Obama picking up the endorsement of longtime Republican and retired four-star General Colin Powell. Pollsters say that endorsements rarely make a difference, but is Colin Powell's an exception? Joining me now from Washington, Tara Walsh. She's a CNN political contributor and deputy editorial page editor for the Washington Times. And from Denver this morning, David Sirota, nationally syndicated columnist and author of the book, The Uprising. Good morning to both of you. And David, you look particularly awake given the fact that it's 4 a.m. there in Denver. David, let me ask you, first of all, the significance of the Powell endorsement. And here's a guy who was good friends with John McCain, contributed to his campaign, gave him money, now going for Senator Obama.
This is a rejection, I think, of John McCain more than it is a reward for Obama. Remember, Colin Powell gave one of the most irresponsible speeches in American diplomatic history in front of the United Nations before the war. So I don't necessarily know how much it helps Obama, who ran against this war and who many people are supporting because of his opposition to this war, but I certainly do think that the repudiation of John McCain by such a high-profile Republican certainly hurts John McCain.
What about those 2 points, Tara Wall, particularly this idea of the repudiation of the negative attacks by the McCain campaign? He singled out Sarah Palin, saying that Barack Obama was palling around with terrorists, as well as Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, who suggested that the media should do an investigation of all 535 members of Congress to see which ones are anti-American.
Well, you know, I do think, I think it is significant, not surprising, though, given that Colin Powell is more of a moderate Republican, and you've had these warring factions within the Republican Party between the moderates and the conservatives, and it's gone back and forth. And quite frankly, McCain was criticized early on by many of the conservatives, as you know, because he has more moderate positions. And so he took the calculated risk of putting Palin on the ticket to pacify the conservatives, and it did re-energize the base. So I think for that reason, obviously, you're going to have some of those moderates within the party feel a little, you know, disenfranchised, and that was the case, I believe, with Colin Powell. So it is significant. I think it does send a message somewhat to Republicans, but not surprising.
Let me come back to the point you were making just a second ago, David. Let me preface it by saying here's what Alex Castellanos, Republican strategist, CNN contributor, said about this whole thing. He said, quote, "Powell is a glass of warm milk and a cookie for those who can't sleep worrying about the lack of experience of a President Obama." So people are suggesting that maybe he bucks him up a little bit on this foreign policy side, bucks him up a little bit on the military side. But again, to the point that you made, that Colin Powell was the one who sealed the deal in the case for war with Iraq. I was there at the UN Security Council watching him make that presentation. Powell still will not say that the war was a mistake, says it was based on bad intelligence. Do Democrats just forget about that and say, oh, well, Colin Powell did so many other great things that he's a perfect fit for Senator Obama?
Well, you hope that Democrats don't forget about that. I mean, I don't think that Obama should have rejected, for instance, the endorsement. And I think, you know, anybody who endorses a campaign within reason is a good thing, especially somebody who does have a long governmental career like Powell. But I think you're right. I think the question that we should be asking moving forward, if there is an Obama administration, is who is Obama listening to? You've got Colin Powell, I think, and a lot of other people are going to start flocking to his campaign as they think that he is going to become the president. And so the worry is, if there is a worry, is that we want to make sure that Obama lives up to his campaign promises, and obviously one of his main promises is to get us out of this war, a position that Colin Powell certainly does not, I don't think, support.
Sarah?
Yeah, that is quite the dichotomy, and that's why I think I would question the significance of what kind of role Colin Powell will play. They actually do have some significant differences here. And one of the things you have to remember, Colin Powell did say was that he and McCain, again, were good friends. They both would make good presidents, he believed. It was just the positioning of where the party is. I think on the foreign policy points that were made, there is strong disagreement there. Colin Powell said he didn't agree with the timeline, for example. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright told our paper just last week the same thing. She didn't agree with the timeline. So I think that there are going to be some lingering questions about a role that he would play, and whether Barack Obama would heed the advice of more tempered positions in that regard, such as Colin Powell.
Well, we'll find out, because he'll probably continue to advise him over the next 15 days. We'll see if it has any effect on November 4th. Tara Wall, as always, thanks. David Sirota from Denver this morning. Good to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having me, John.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.